So the WNBA expansion draft is happening soon, and every team has already submitted the players that they have to.
The WNBA just dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming. 2 minutes ago, reports surfaced that Clark and Sophie Cunningham could be out next season, and head coach Stephanie White just revealed the shocking reason why. This isn't speculation. This isn't rumor. This is happening right now.
Indiana Fever might be making a huge mistake. Again, this is a might because you just never know. You never know when it comes to things like this.
The entire basketball world is in absolute chaos. What you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about the Indiana Fever's future. And trust me, you need to hear every single word of this. Let's rewind for just a second, because the context here is absolutely critical. Clark isn't just any player. She's the face of the WNBA right now. Her rookie season pulled in ratings that the league has never seen before. We're talking 6.2 million viewers for her draft.
Because you don't know how players pan out. You don't know. Maybe you're overrating a player, maybe you're underrating a player. But it's always kind of hard to tell when it comes to young players.
6.2 million. That's insane. Her jersey became the league's top seller overnight. Season ticket renewals for the Fever skyrocketed by 300%. 300. The market value of the Indiana Fever jumped 47% after they drafted her. This woman single-handedly transformed a struggling franchise into a playoff contender and a cultural phenomenon. So when you hear that she might not be playing next season, your first reaction should be absolute shock. Because it is shocking. And then there's Sophie Cunningham. Now, Sophie plays for the Phoenix Mercury, not the Fever. But her name being thrown into this conversation tells you just how massive this situation really is. Sophie is a veteran, a sharpshooter, a fan favorite. She brings grit, intensity, and a killer three-point shot that can change games in an instant. The fact that both of these names are being mentioned together in the same breath, in the same crisis, tells you that whatever is happening right now goes way beyond just one team or one player. This is league-wide. This is catastrophic. So what exactly did Stephanie White reveal? Well, according to sources close to the situation, White held an emergency meeting with team executives just hours ago. The meeting was supposed to be routine, a standard check-in before the off-season really kicks into gear. But what happened in that room was anything but routine. White reportedly laid out a scenario that sent shockwaves through the front office. She explained that the expansion draft, the same one that's been causing chaos for every team in the league, has created a perfect storm of complications. And at the center of that storm, Clark and the future of the Fever's roster. Here's where it gets even crazier. The Golden State Valkyries are joining the WNBA in 2026, and they're coming in hot, backed by Silicon Valley money, building a state-of-the-art arena in Oakland and armed with $50 million in initial investment. They're not messing around. The expansion draft rules say that every existing team can only protect 6 players. 6. That means everyone else is fair game. And the Valkyries? They're circling like sharks, ready to snatch up the best talent they can find. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but Clark is obviously going to be protected, right? She's untouchable. She's the franchise. And you'd be right to think that. But here's the twist. The expansion draft isn't just about who you protect. It's about who you leave exposed. And the Fever just made a catastrophic mistake that could cost them everything. Just days ago, the Fever social media team posted a photo. It was supposed to be innocent, just a picture of head coach Stephanie White standing with 6 players. But eagle-eyed fans noticed something immediately. That photo revealed exactly which 6 players the Fever planned to protect in the expansion draft. Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, Tammy Bentley, and Alyssa Smith. The post was deleted within 45 minutes, but the damage was already done. Screenshots were everywhere. The WNBA community exploded. And the Golden State Valkyries just got a free peek into the Fever's entire strategy. But here's the real kicker. That list of 6 players? It left off Grace Berger. And if you don't know who Grace Berger is, you're about to find out why that's a massive, massive problem. Berger is a 6-foot point guard who led the WNBA in three-point percentage 2 seasons ago. She's shooting 44% from beyond the arc. She's young. She's on a team-friendly rookie contract. And league scouts are already comparing her to Courtney Vandersloot. One Eastern Conference executive said leaving her unprotected could haunt the Fever for years. And guess what? The Valkyries are almost certainly going to take her. There's a 95% chance Grace Berger becomes a Golden State Valkyrie next season. So now we're getting to the heart of why Caitlin Clark might be out. It's not that she's leaving the Fever. It's that the team around her is falling apart. The supporting cast that helped her reach the playoffs for the first time since 2016, that's gone. The chemistry she built with Aaliyah Boston on the pick and roll, that might not matter if the rest of the roster is gutted. And the worst part, Caitlin knows it. According to sources, she's been in constant communication with her agent, trying to figure out what this means for her future. She didn't sign up to carry a rebuilding team for the next 5 years. She signed up to win championships. And then there's the Sophie Cunningham angle. Now, Sophie plays for Phoenix, but her name is being thrown around because of what's happening with the Mercury. Phoenix is in a similar situation. They have to protect their core players, but they're also at risk of losing key pieces. Sophie is in the final year of her contract, and if the Mercury don't protect her, she becomes a free agent. And if she becomes a free agent, guess who's going to come calling? The Golden State Valkyries. They have $5.7 million in cap space. They have a marketing machine that can turn role players into household names. And they have a front office full of former NBA executives who know exactly how to build a championship contender from scratch. So here's the scenario Stephanie White laid out in that emergency meeting. If the Fever lose Grace Berger in the expansion draft, they lose their backup point guard. If they lose their backup point guard, Caitlin Clark has to carry an even heavier load. If Caitlin has to carry an even heavier load, she's at risk of burnout, injury, or worse, frustration. And if Caitlin gets frustrated, she starts looking at other options. Maybe she sits out a season. Maybe she demands a trade. Maybe she pulls a move that nobody sees coming and takes her talents somewhere else. And the league knows it. The Players Union is already monitoring the situation. They haven't released a formal statement yet, but sources say they're watching closely for possible contract consequences in the upcoming collective bargaining agreement. This could lead to new provisions regarding roster protection announcements, social media policies, and player welfare. Because what's happening to Caitlin Clark right now? It's not just about basketball. It's about mental health. It's about team stability. It's about whether or not the league can protect its superstars from being caught in the crossfire of expansion chaos. Meanwhile, the fan reaction has been absolutely insane. Over 50,000 tweets about the Fever in the last 24 hours. Instagram engagement through the roof. Season ticket holders are jamming the phone lines trying to get answers. There's even a change.org petition to save Grace Berger that's racked up 15,000 signatures in just 6 hours. Caitlin Clark's dad posted a cryptic tweet that said, "Trust Indy," and it got 100,000 likes before he deleted it. The entire basketball world is losing its mind. And it's not just fans who are panicking. Corporate sponsors are freaking out. The Fever's main jersey sponsor, a major healthcare organization, called an urgent meeting with team executives because their multi-million-dollar yearly deal includes stability provisions. If the roster gets gutted, if Caitlin leaves, if the team implodes, that sponsored deal could be in jeopardy. Local businesses around Gainbridge Fieldhouse are worried too. Restaurant owner Maria Rodriguez said her establishment sees 40% of its revenue on game days. She built her entire business concept around Fever home games. If the team falls apart, it's not just the franchise that suffers. It's the entire community. Merchandise vendors are already adjusting their inventory orders. They were banking on Caitlin Clark jerseys, bringing in $3.2 million in December alone. But now they're not so sure. Betting markets are reacting too. The Fever's championship odds for 2025 dropped from 8-1 to over 12-1 in just hours after that leaked post went viral. Oddsmaker Jimmy Peterson said the leak created a ton of uncertainty, and the market hates uncertainty. And here's where it gets even darker. There are psychological effects on the players that nobody's really talking about. Sarah Martinez, a sports psychologist who works with multiple WNBA teams, said that being publicly exposed as unprotected can seriously impact team dynamics and performance. It's like being told you're expendable via social media. That's brutal. Practices have reportedly been tense since the leak. Players are hesitant, preoccupied, avoiding eye contact. Some have set up extra private consultations just to process what's happening. This isn't just a roster move. This is emotional trauma playing out in real time. And then there's the international angle. 3 European teams have already contacted representatives of potentially unprotected Fever players. Fenerbahce, the Turkish powerhouse, has allegedly made significant offers for any exposed player. If the Fever lose players to overseas leagues, that's even worse than losing them to the Valkyries. At least in the WNBA, they're still in the same country, still competing in the same league. But if players start fleeing to Europe because of this chaos, that's a crisis the league can't afford. So what happens next? Well, the official protection list was due today. The Fever had to submit their final 6 names, and now the entire league is waiting to see if they stick with that leaked list or if they pull off some kind of last-minute audible. There are rumors of 3-team trades involving protected players and signed European draft choices and even international players currently competing abroad. Some analysts think the leak post was actually a smokescreen, a deliberate deception designed to throw the Valkyries off their game. But most people think it was just a catastrophic mistake. Stephanie White is in an impossible position. She's trying to build a championship contender around the most exciting player the league has seen in years. But her hands are tied by expansion draft rules, salary cap restrictions, and a front office that just gave away their entire playbook on social media. The next 48 hours are absolutely critical. Will Caitlin Clark stay? Will Sophie Cunningham end up in Golden State? Will Grace Berger become the franchise pillar for the Valkyries that she could have been for the Fever? One thing is certain. The WNBA will never be the same after this. The expansion draft just exposed every single flaw in how the league handles roster management, player protection, and franchise stability. And 2 of the biggest names in basketball are caught right in the middle of it. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham might be out next season, and Stephanie White just told us exactly why. This is the story that will define the offseason, and we're watching it unfold in real time